Hello guys, welcome back to our channel ByteShift. So in this tutorial, we are going to develop a JavaScript scheduler plugin. So this plugin contains a calendar. You can browse this calendar. You can see it starts from January. And in this calendar, you can add few notes. You can select a date, like I'm selecting this date, and you can add a note to it, like demo note 1. I'm adding it. Let's get added. I can add another note on Saturday 18th. Demo note 2. I'm adding it. You can see we have added two notes in this calendar. Okay, now what I can do is I can show the selected dates by clicking this show button. You can see we have got two dates along with the notes that we have given waiting as demo note 2. So this is the plugin that we are going to develop. Okay, the entire thing is in JavaScript, pure JavaScript. Okay, so what I'll be doing is I will be dividing this tutorial into four basic parts, uh, and I am creating a playlist for it. So the first part what we are going to do is we are going to print dates, arranging dates in months and in weekdays format, as you can see. So it is printing dates between January 2020 to January 2021. So between two date range, it is printing dates in month and weekdays format. So this is the first part. In second part, what we are going to do is we are going to arrange the previously formatted dates into a calendar format. You can see along with the previous and next button. That would be our second part. The third would be to select a date. Like you can see, I can select a date without the note, just selecting dates on a click event. We are selecting dates. Okay, and the final part would be adding notes to a selected date. Like if I click on this, I can add notes to it, like note 1, sorry 1. I'm adding it, and I can add another. Click on the date 2 and adding notes to it. This I can show the result. Like you can see the date that we have selected along with the notes that we have inputted. Okay, so this would be the final result of our tutorial. Okay, so let us quickly move on to our code section now. So in our first part, what we are going to do is we are going to print dates between two given dates in which months and in weekdays format, as you can see right here. Okay, we are going to do that. So for that what we have done is we have got our HTML5 right here. Okay, and we have included a JavaScript file with name calendar.js, and we also have a div, and all the thing that we need to print will go inside this element. Okay, the ID of this element is calendar. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and write something in our JavaScript file. So let us start with a variable content which will uh, accept the response that we get from calling a function named date between. We haven't created this function yet. We'll create it shortly. So what this function needs, this function will accept two parameters. The first is our starting date. The format of the date would be first year, then month, and then the date. So it is starting from 2020 January first date. Okay, and the second would be 2021. It can be anything. This is the start date and this is our end date. Okay, so the response that we get, will store it in content, and this will go inside our div element with id calendar, right here. The response would go inside this element. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to do document dot get element by id. The id of this element is calendar, right? So what I need to do is I need to quickly copying it, and then in our HTML equals to what, equals to the response that we get by calling the function get bit dates between. Okay, so next what we'll be doing is we'll be creating the function get dates between. So I'm creating it right here, function get dates between date date2 accepts. Okay, whatever the date 1 will contain the start date, date 2 will contain the end date. Okay, after that what I'll be doing is I'll be storing it in the states in range 1 and range 2. What I'll be doing, this is a string, right? So we need to convert it into a date object. So for that what we need to do is we need to call a function called date1. It contains that. Similarly what we'll be doing is we'll be doing the same with date2 and storing it in range 2. Okay, so as you can see, if I console this date, range would be at date range 1 and range 2. If we concat this, but you can let me quickly see it in browser. I'm opening the console right now. Okay, then console, and if I refresh the entire thing, you can see we have got two dates. You can see this string object get converted to a date object right now, and you can see showing January 1st, also the day it is 2020, and Friday January 1st 2021. Okay, so both the dates get changed. And now what we'll do, we will call another function and store the response from that function into this date1 parameter. So what that function would be, it would be setting date. It's a function which hasn't been created yet. I'll create it shortly. So what this function will accept, this function will accept two parameters. The first would be a date, which is date1, and the second would be a number like 31. I'll quickly explain you why I'm sending 31 right here. Okay, I'm calling it again for date 2, and I'm sending date 2, and I'm again sending 31. So I'll tell you why I'm sending 31, and quickly let's console uh, date 1 and date 2 right here, consoling it. Okay, and I'm quickly going to make the function that we're calling. Let's, this is setting 1. It is accepting two parameters. The first is a date and the second is a day, 31. Okay, so what it will do is it will first of all create a date. It will change this date into a date object. Okay, as the date is, you can see it's a string, so we need to change it into a date object. So I'm changing it into a date object, and then what I'm doing is I'm going to call set date function. Wait, set date function. So set date function is a JavaScript function. Okay, and I'm also calling it for set hours. So set hours. Okay, and then with twice. Okay, so what does this set date does? So it's a JavaScript function. Let us quickly move on to our browser. So the set date method sets the day of the month to the date object. Okay, so as you can see right here, if set date 15, so it would return the 15th date of this current month. You can see Saturday Feb 15th. So this returns the 15th date of the current month. Okay, for if we talk about our own example, so I'm currently sending it the date 2020 0101, and if I set it to day is 31, so it would return me the 31st date of January of 2020. Okay, so as you can see, it expects integer value, and the expected values is 1 to 31. But if I send 0, the result or the response that it will give me is the last date of the previous month. Okay, if I send 0, and if I send 32, what it will return is, it will return the first day of the next month. Anything greater than 31, it would give me the dates of the next month, and anything less than 1, it would return me the dates of the previous month. Okay, so with our example, what we can do is, we need to return the date now. Sorry, return the date. If we return the date, and if we try to console it, let us quickly move on to our browser and reload it. What you can see is, it is returning me for Friday, January 31, 2020. So the 31st date of the month that we are sending, and for our second date, it is returning me Sunday, January 31st of 2021. Now let us quickly change the date. Like if I change this to April, which is 4, okay, and if I call this, quickly reload it, you can see, so April doesn't have 31 days, right? So for that, if we try to print 31st date of April, it will return the first date of May, as because April doesn't have 31 days, it has 30 days. So for printing 31 days, it would return me May 1st. Similarly, if we try to see, if we try set it the days to 0, what it will return is, it will return me the previous date. So for January, so for April 2020, it will return March 31st, and for January 2021, it would return December 31st. Okay, so now I hope you understand what this set date function does. So what we have now, we have got the end date of each this month, 2021 January and 2020 January. The end date of each month, we have got it in date 1 and date 2. Now our next step is to get the end date of each month between 2020 January to 2021 January. We need to get the end date of each month. So for that, I'll be writing a loop. Okay, this loop will run till the date 1, means our start date, is less than or equals to end date. Okay, so initially they both are currently in object format, and they both contain 31st January 2020 and 31st January 2021. Okay, so this loop will evaluate till this condition is satisfied. Okay, so what I'll be doing is, I'll be writing the code, and then after that I'll explain you what we have done here. Okay, so I'll be writing this code firstly. So I'm writing get date. So what this get date function does, it's a JavaScript function. Okay, what it get date function does, it would give you the date of a current date object. Like for suppose we have got here this date, it's a date object, right? So if we run a get date function with this value, it would return me 31st, means the date. Same goes for this, it would return me 31st, the date. Okay, so get date function does that, and then what if this condition gets satisfied, means if the get date is not 31, means for months like February, when the get date would return me something February either 28 or 29, and for months like April, which has 30 days in it, it would give me it would return 30. Okay, so for months like April or February, this condition will get satisfied, because the final date, means the end date of this month is not 31, it's either 28, 29 or 30, right? Now temp is equals to what? I'm calling this function setting date, sorry, setting date. I'm calling it for date 1, okay, comma 0. So for this particular time, the value of this day is 0. So as I've told you before, if we call this set date function with this parameter 0, it would give me the last date of previous month, okay, in response, okay. So I'm storing it in temp. So I'm changing it range 1 if the temp is greater than, and secondly, wait, temp is less than or equals to range 2, okay. If this is satisfied, what I'm doing is I'm getting a new array, okay, with dates, and I'm pushing this. If the condition gets satisfied, I'm pushing those dates in this date variable or date array, okay. So I'm pushing this temp date object into this dates array, okay. And after this gets done, I'll be changing the value of date 1 to set date. I'm again setting it to date 1 comma 31. Else, for when the get date for is equals to 31, for days months like January, when the uh, date would be, the last date would be 31, so, or January or December when the last date is 31, it will go inside this else function, okay. So I'm calling this temp again, and I'm storing it with the new date. I'm date 1. If temp is greater than or equals to range 1 and temp is less than or equals to range 2, then what I'll be doing is dates comma push temp, okay, does that. And then what I'll be doing is I'll changing the value of this date. Set month is a JavaScript function which sets the month of a particular date. So I'm currently changing this month to, and I'm increasing the month to 1 bit. Date 1 dot get month plus 1. What this function does, it increases the month of this date 1. So for the first iteration it is January, the second, and if it comes to this else part, it will change it to February, and when again this comes to else part, it will change it to January, February, March, April, May, June, similarly, until and unless the entire thing goes up to January 2021, this loop will get executed. So it increments, kind of increments this the month of this date 1, okay. So after the entire loop gets run, let me show you what this date array date array will contain, okay. So console.log, if we print this date and quickly run it in our browser, it is not defined, wait a second, okay, sorry, set date, I need to change it to setting date, right? Okay, okay, as you can see, we have got how much, 12 months, right? So it starts from 31 January 2020, February 29, March 31st, April. So I'm getting the last date of each month between 31st January 2020 to 31st December 2020, right? Between these two dates that are ranged. Okay, I'm getting the entire I'm getting the last date of each month with this loop right here. After that, what we will be doing is we will be working with these dates and will print it in month and in weekdays format. Okay, we will be calling a new content, and then I'm calling another weekdays, sorry, weekdays. And then what I'll be doing is I will be getting the short day of each month, which is each day, which is Monday, array for the weekdays. Okay, so this would be Monday, right? Monday. Okay, I need to return this entire reprint this entire thing 7 times. Wait, sorry. Okay, for the second day it would be Tuesday, and then Wednesday, Wednesday. Okay, Thursday, Friday. Okay, and lastly Sunday. So we have got each weekdays in an array object. Okay, we have to arrange it in a table format. Okay, so for that what I'll be doing is I'll be writing a loop 0 to I less than dates dot length. Dates dot length, the dates contains date array contains all the dates, all these dates, right? So the length of this array is 12, right? So the 0 index contains the last date of January, 1 index contains the last day of February, second contains the last day of 31st. Okay, so we need to, and then I plus plus. Okay, and inside this what I'll be doing is last day. So I'm storing the last date, which is 31 for January, 29 for February, right? I'm storing it in this last date variable, right? Similarly, we need to get the first date of each month. So what I'll be doing is I will be calling get full year. Okay, what this get full year? Get full year is a JavaScript function which gives us a year from a JavaScript date object. Okay. Similarly, I'll also again call a function named get month, right? Get month, and for get month and 1. So what it will return? This function will return the first date of this month, the first date of the month, okay, of each month. Like for this, it would return 1st January 2020. For this, it would return 1st February 2020. Okay, so for each those month, it will return the first date of each month. Okay, after that, what I'll be doing is I have created a content variable right here, initialized a content variable right here, and will be using that to print our days. Okay, so I'm calling this content plus equals to concatenating it with creating a div Let us quickly give it a ID, a unique ID that can be used. Okay, so I'm calling it calendar. Okay, calendar table underscore. We need to give a unique ID to it, concatenating it with the variable plus 1. Okay, for the second iteration it is calendar table underscore 1, and same thing goes on. Okay, so I've got that, and after that what I need to do is I need to print this thing, right? Jan 2020, Feb 2020. For that what I'll be doing is I'll be using content plus equals to h2 plus I need to get month. Okay, so how can I get the month? As you can see, I've got each month right here. Okay, and you can also see I've got the month right here in between, right? The first word is the date, day, and the second word is our month. So I need to get the second word. Okay, so for that what I'll be doing is I'll be doing I've got this first date, so I'm using the first date. For that first date I'm changing, it's an object, so I'm changing it to string right here. So I'm changing it to a string from an object, and then I'm splitting this string. I'm using split function. Split functions, what it does, it splits a sentence. So I'm splitting it with by space. So as you can see, it is the entire things gets converted into a string. Okay, so if I split it into, with space, it gives me, returns an array with the first index pointing to fry, second index Jan, third index 31, fourth index 2020, and fifth index the time, and same goes on. Okay, so if I need to get the Jan month, what I'll be doing is I need to get the second index, which is 0. 0 will, if I try to print 0, if I change it to 0, it will return me Friday, but if I try it with 1, it would return me the month. Okay, first date, I'm using the first date again, and then I'm calling the get full year function. Okay, to get the year of each month, right? And then I need to close the h1 tag, h2 tag, sorry. I'm closing the h2 tag right here. And after that, suppose if I close the div, and let us quickly print it. Okay, okay, this, and let me just return this content. Okay, and let us just see what we get in our HTML page. As you can see, it says Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday. As I told you, we're trying to print the 0 index. You can see Friday, Saturday, Tuesday. So it is sending me this with the result with the 0 index. Let us quickly change it to 1. Then what we'll get? We'll get this January, February, March, right? So you can see January 2020, February 2020, March 2020, April, May, and same goes for up until December, right? And after that we need to print each day, like 0, 1, and along with it weekdays, if the start date is a Wednesday or Monday or anything, right? So for that what we'll be doing is we will be using content plus equals to, using a table. Okay, using this, the table has a t head, right? So we are using t head. Okay, the first head of our table will contain the day's name, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right? So first the head will contain those days. So for that, what I'll be doing is I'll be calling the map function. Week, I'll be calling this one or this variable, this object, okay, weekdays object. So dot map, I'm calling this map function. Right. What I'll be doing is inside this I'll be calling the concatenate function, concatenate, okay, and th, okay, and inside this th what I'll be doing is item dot full day is this next. I'll be printing it inside this, okay, and then again I'll be calling closing th, okay. So this gets closed. So what I'll get after this, okay, after this I need to close this th part also, closing it, you can see, okay, close the table, right. I'm closing the table right now, okay, now printing it again, okay, as you can see we're getting it for all month. And next our task would be to print each day, right. So to print each day, what we will be doing is after this t head we need to call a t body, right, and I'm closing it also, so don't forget to close it, right. So I'm getting a closing tag as well. So after that variable like j, the value of j starts with 1, okay, and I'm also using so to display each the date, right, id month, okay, while j is less than, while j is less than or equals to, means we need to print the date from 1 to the last date of the month, right. So I'm using the last date dot get date. Last date is the object, date object, right. So I'm getting the last date. So for months like this, the last date is 31, for February is 21, 29, for March it's 31, for April it's 30, right. So the loop will start, loop will run from 1 to the last date of that of each month, right. Inside this content.tr, content.tr, I'm also closing it so that we don't forget to close it later, okay. I will be writing another loop, k equals to 0 less than 7, sorry 7th, okay. For each row we need to write at least 7 times, right, because the week has 7 days. So for each row we need to write 7 times. You can see first row, so after this each rows will contain 7 column, right. For that we are writing this inner loop, okay. So and first of all I need to set the display num that we will display, right. We have initialized it right here, so I'm setting it display num equals to, if I'm using a ternary operator, if j is less than 10, then for days like 1 to 9 we need to concatenate it with 0, and else if it is greater than or equal to 10 we need to send it. We don't need to add or concatenate any 0 to it, right. So we have got the display num value right here. After that if j is equals to 1, if it's the first day, right, if it's the first day we need to check something, this first date I'm converting it to a string, to string, see, and then again I'm splitting it, dot split Okay, and after, so I'm basically, yeah, what I'm getting is trying to get is I'm trying to get this date, Friday, fry, sat. Okay, so for that I'm converting this entire object to a string and then splitting it with a space so that I get an array in response with sat in 0 index, fab in 1 index. So I'm trying to get the date, get this date of this from this object. Okay, and what I'm doing after that is I am trying to compare it with the weekdays k dot short day. Okay, as you can see, like for example, this 01 starts from Wednesday, but here the 01 starts from Saturday, here the 01 starts from Sunday, right? So how can we achieve that? Okay, so for that, and all other column from this row is blank, right? Or this two column from this row is blank, and rest of the first index is printed from Wednesday, right? And so on, it goes from so on. So for that, what we need to check is we need to check if the first date of an object is a Friday or a Sunday or a Monday, right? If it is that, so we are checking it with our weekday sort day. So our weekday sort day also contains Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right? So I'm checking it, comparing it with this date. Okay, if it gets that, then what we'll be doing is we will be getting the content td. Okay, and plus we need to display the display num that we have created here, and then I'm closing it with, and then I'm increasing the value to j++. So unless the first dates match with the weekdays, we are not initializing anything or incrementing it. Okay, once it gets matched to a weekday, then we are only increasing it. Else if it's not that, then what we need to do is we need to uh, get the content to a blank td, right? So as you can see, until and unless this 01 is matched with a Wednesday, these two columns should be blank, right? For this February 2020, this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, this column should be blank and it should start from Saturday, right? So for that, when it does not match, it goes to else part, right? When it does not match, it goes to else part and print it to blank, right? And for that else part, we are not incrementing any j value, right? After that, we need to write another else if. Okay, when the value of j is greater than the last date, right, then also we need to print it to blank. Okay, like for suppose here the value of j will be greater than, for this column the value of j would be greater than the last date 29. For this example, for this column and this column, the value of j would be greater than the last date 31, right? For example, this column, this five columns, for this five columns the value of j would be greater than 31. So for that also we need to do the same. We need to print the blank part. Okay, and else if everything goes well, j value will be incremented, as well as we need to print it like this. Okay, and after all this is executed, all these 7 columns has been executed, we need to close the tr value. Okay, then I'm running it and I'm moving on to our browser. As you can see, means done with arranging the dates in month and weekdays format, as you can see. Now each calendar has got a unique ID, calendar underscore table 1, calendar table underscore 2, 3, and same goes on. So we have arranged it. So that's all for our first part. Okay, so in our next part we will be arranging all these dates into a calendar format along with the next and previous button. So see you in our next video. Bye.